There is a moment that feels very familiar. The moment when you lie still in the darkness, eyes open, your heart not racing, yet your mind refuses to rest. You think about tomorrow, about what might happen, about the mistakes you could make. And somewhere in your mind, a quiet question echoes. If I don't stay in control, will everything fall apart? We grow up believing that to be safe, we must control, that to avoid pain, we must anticipate every possible outcome. So we try to control time, control our work, control our emotions, even the way others see us. But the more we control, the more exhausted we become. The tighter we hold on, the more anxious we feel. Buddhism teaches that suffering does not come from life itself, but from attachment. Attachment to outcomes, attachment to the future, attachment to the illusion that we can manage everything. Anxiety does not live in the present moment. It lives in the stories the mind tells about tomorrow. Right now, you are breathing. You are safe. There is nothing truly threatening you in this moment. But the mind pulls you away into a future that has not happened and asks you to live there instead. Control, at its core, is our way of resisting life's uncertainty. And that resistance is what drains us. Buddhism does not teach surrender as giving up. It teaches letting go wisely. Do what is yours to do, then release what is not. Like standing in the middle of a river, if you fight the current, you sink. But when you relax, the water carries you. This chapter asks nothing of you. It does not ask you to change. It does not ask you to be peaceful right away. It offers only a gentle invitation to notice how tired you have become from trying to control everything. That recognition itself is the very first doorway back to inner peace.
When you begin to notice how exhausted you are from trying to control everything, another question gently arises. What is it that is truly making me anxious? Right now, not what might happen tomorrow, not what you fear could happen, but what is happening in this very moment. You are breathing. Your body is here. Nothing is chasing you. And yet, anxiety is still present, because anxiety does not live in the present. It lives in the mind. Buddhism teaches that the mind is like a tireless storyteller. It constantly narrates the future, what could go wrong, what might be lost, what has not yet happened. And when you believe those stories, your body reacts as if they were real. Your heart beats faster, your shoulders tighten, your breath becomes shallow and quick. Life itself has not hurt you. Your thoughts about life have. Try something very simple. Right now, bring your attention to the breath. No need to change it. Just notice. Inhale, exhale. In this moment, there is no problem that needs solving, no future that needs controlling. Buddhism calls this moment mindfulness, not as a way to escape life, but as a way to return to where life is actually happening. Each time you return to the present, anxiety loses a little of its power, not because you defeat it, but because you stop feeding it. Anxiety survives on attention. When you stop chasing the mind's stories, it naturally begins to settle. You do not need to eliminate anxiety. You only need to stop identifying with it. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who is aware of them. And when you truly see this, a small space opens within you, a space of stillness, a space of peace. In the next chapter, we will explore an important truth more deeply. Fear, when continually nourished, becomes the seed that shapes your life. And when you learn to stop planting that seed, your life will begin to change, from the inside out.
When you begin to observe anxiety, you may notice something more subtle beneath it. Fear. Fear is not always loud. Often it is very small, a fleeting thought, a vague sense of unease. But Buddhism teaches that fear is like a seed. If you keep watering it with your attention, it will grow, quietly, persistently. You fear failure, so you begin to hesitate. You fear rejection, so you withdraw. You fear loss, so you hold on tighter than necessary. And then something strange happens. Your life begins to mirror that very fear. Not because fate is punishing you, but because you are living, thinking, and acting as if fear were the truth. In Buddhism, this is called cause and effect within the mind. Whatever seed is planted, life will blossom accordingly. This does not mean you must force yourself to be positive, not denying fear, not fighting it. Simply noticing. When fear arises, gently look at it and ask, am I feeding this seed? You have a choice, in every moment. You can choose to nourish fear, or you can choose to nourish presence, calmness, trust. Like a garden, you do not need to pull out every weed at once. You only need to care for the seeds you wish to grow. And when you stop watering fear, it does not disappear immediately, but it weakens, day by day. In the next chapter, we will explore an even deeper truth. True strength does not lie in gripping tightly, but in knowing when to let go. And when you understand this, you will begin to sense a very different kind of freedom. A freedom not born of control, but of mindful letting go.
When fear grows, the human instinct is to grip tighter, to grip plans, to grip relationships, to grip a future we believe we need. We are taught that strength means control, that being strong means never letting anything slip out of our hands. But Buddhism offers a different perspective, a very quiet one. True strength does not lie in tightening the grip, but in knowing when to let go. Letting go here does not mean giving up. It does not mean indifference. It means releasing the illusion that we can control everything. Imagine trying to hold water in your palm. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. But when your hand opens, the water remains. Life is the same. The more you try to hold on, the more you lose. The more you soften, the more you are supported. In Buddhism, this state is called mindful letting go. You still act, you still care, you still take responsibility, but you no longer tie your self-worth to the outcome. When you let go in this way, something very subtle happens. The mind becomes lighter. The breath deepens. You begin to see possibilities that anxiety once obscured. Not because life changes instantly, but because you are no longer fighting it. This strength is quiet, unassuming. It does not announce itself. It is the strength of someone who knows, I have done my part. Now I allow life to do its part. In the next chapter, we will return to a place very close, yet often forgotten, the present moment, the only place where true peace exists. And when you learn to remain there, you will realize that peace was never something to be searched for. When you stop tightening your grip, a small space appears, and within that space, you begin to sense the present moment. The present is not loud. It does not compete for attention. It simply rests there, quietly waiting for you to return. Buddhism teaches that peace does not live in tomorrow. It does not exist in some ideal outcome. Peace exists only in this moment. Anxiety cannot survive in the present because there is nothing here to fear, only the breath coming in and the breath going out. Try it now. Nothing needs to change. Simply know that you are breathing in and know that you are breathing out. In that moment, the mind stops running toward the future. It comes home. Buddhism calls this return mindfulness, not as a way to escape problems, but as a way to see more clearly, more gently. When you are in the present, you do not need to be strong. You do not need to control. You only need to be here. And that presence alone is enough to heal many things. The present reveals a simple truth. Right now, you are still breathing, still alive, still okay. From this place, all action becomes wiser.
no longer driven by fear, no longer pulled by anxiety. In the next chapter, we will look directly at a subtle trap of the mind, fears created by imagination. And when you see this clearly, many burdens will naturally fall away.
When you stay with the present long enough, you begin to see something very clearly. Most of what exhausts you has never actually happened. It exists in imagination. The human mind is like a screenwriter that never rests. It creates endless scripts, conversations that have not occurred, failures that have not arrived, losses that have never touched your life. And then you begin to live as if those stories were true. Buddhism calls this mental fabrication. Not because you are weak, but because the mind is designed to predict and protect. What matters is this: just because a thought appears does not mean you have to believe it. Observe a thought as it arises. Do not push it away. Do not follow it. Simply recognize, this is a thought. When you can do this, you are no longer pulled into the story. You are standing outside of it. Like watching clouds move across the sky. Clouds come, clouds go. The sky remains. Thoughts are the same. They are not you. They are only passing through. Many fears dissolve, not because you solved the problem, but because you realized there was never a problem here at all. When you no longer live inside imagined scenarios, life becomes lighter, clearer, and more real. In the next chapter, we will touch something very deep: the relationship between control and trust. And you will see, when one appears, the other naturally steps back.
When you begin to see the traps of imagination, something else becomes clear as well. The more you try to control, the less you trust. Control and trust cannot exist in the same moment. When you grip the steering wheel too tightly, you are silently telling life, "I don't trust you." Buddhism does not teach blind faith. Trust here is not wishful thinking. It is a deep understanding that life has its own intelligence. You still act, you still make effort, but you no longer bind yourself to the outcome. Like planting a seed, you choose good soil, you water it, you care for it, but you do not dig the seed up every day to check whether it has grown. Excessive control comes from the fear that says, if I don't interfere, everything will fall apart. Yet so often in life, the most beautiful things arrive only when you stop forcing them. When you allow yourself to trust, a heavy burden drops away. You no longer feel that everything rests on your shoulders. Buddhism calls this letting go of attachment to outcomes, not because you don't care, but because you understand that some things lie beyond human control. And within that understanding, you begin to breathe more deeply, walk more slowly, live more lightly. In the next chapter, we will explore the quiet miracle of letting go. Letting go does not make you lose anything. It creates space for you to grow.
When trust begins to appear, you realize something quietly surprising. Letting go does not make you weaker. It makes you wider. Fear always causes contraction. The mind tightens. Dreams shrink. The heart closes. You tell yourself you are being careful, but in truth, you are making yourself smaller to avoid being hurt. Buddhism sees letting go differently. Letting go is not loss. Letting go is stopping the habit of holding on to what makes you heavy. Imagine walking into a room already filled with furniture. Nothing new can enter unless something old is cleared away. The mind is the same. When it is full of anxiety, there is no space for creativity, no space for joy, no space for peace. Letting go creates space.
space to breathe, space to feel, space for life to enter. What you release is not your dreams, not your responsibilities, but the fear that clings to outcomes. When you stop gripping so tightly, you begin to live more fully, no longer cautious of the present, no longer avoiding what is happening. Letting go does not make life smaller, it allows life to expand. In the next chapter, we will step into something very deep. When you step back at the right moment, life begins to move forward for you.
There is a beautiful paradox in life. The more you push, the more things stand still. The more you know how to pause, the more the current begins to move on its own. Have you ever felt this? When you stop forcing, stop asking when, stop comparing yourself to others, everything suddenly feels lighter. Not because the problem disappears, but because you are no longer blocking your own path. In Buddhism, there is a deep insight. All things unfold through causes and conditions. When conditions are not yet ripe, forced effort only creates more suffering. You can plant the seed, you can water it, but you cannot make the tree grow faster by pulling on its trunk. Pausing is not giving up. Pausing is trusting that you have done your part. When you step back one step, life gains space to move forward. Opportunities you could not see before begin to reveal themselves. People you did not expect appear at exactly the right time. This is not a miracle. It is the natural result of a mind that has stopped interfering. When you are calm, your decisions become clearer. When you are no longer afraid, your actions become wiser. Many people believe they must do more to succeed, but sometimes the most important thing to do is to stop resisting the flow. And when you stop trying to prove your worth, life begins to offer you what you truly need. The final chapter brings us to the most complete place, to live with ease and allow what belongs to you to find its way to you on its own.
In the end, you don't need to become someone else, and you don't need to run faster than life. What you need is simply to return to yourself. When your mind settles, life is no longer a chase. It becomes a journey guided by awareness and trust. The Buddha taught that suffering does not come from lack, but from clinging. Clinging to outcomes, clinging to the image of who you think you must become, clinging to the fear that if you let go, you will lose everything. But when you truly let go, you realize this. Nothing was ever lost. Only heavy burdens were finally laid down. From that moment, you live more lightly. You decide more slowly, but more wisely. You act less, but with greater depth. You no longer ask, when will good things come? Because you have begun to live as if they already are. And that very energy opens the doors that are right for you, without hurry, without forcing, without mistiming. If you are listening to this now, perhaps a part of you is ready to rest, to breathe, to be reminded that you are not behind in life. Allow yourself to live a little more at ease, to trust a little more, and to be gentler with yourself. If these words touched you, leave a comment and share what you felt. Press like to help spread this energy of peace, and subscribe to continue walking with us on a path of mindful, lighter living each day. You deserve a peaceful life, and it is already on its way to you.